Introduction to Cain and Abel. Genesis chapter 4, verse 1 through 2. Adam made love to his wife Eve, and she became pregnant and gave birth to Cain. She said, "With the help of the Lord I have brought forth a man." Later she gave birth to his brother Abel. Now Abel kept flocks, and Cain worked the soil. Now begins the story of human history apart from the perfection of the Garden of Eden, as the first generation born into sin comes to earth. Adam and Eve slept together, conceived, and named their firstborn son Cain. Eve's statement of gratitude reflects her continued faith in God's goodness and provision. Even outside of the garden, Eve understood she owed her life and every good gift to the Lord. In a way, this is remarkable. Eve doubtlessly experienced great pain in bearing and giving birth to Cain, something she would have expected after hearing God's curse for her, Genesis 3:16. Instead of resenting God for that, she gives him credit for helping her through the process of receiving this gift of a son. The name Cain in Hebrew is Cain, which is closely related to the word Kana, meaning obtained or gotten. His birth is a happy occasion and a fulfillment of God's intent to keep the human race alive. Unfortunately, this joy will be marred by Cain's actions later in life, as detailed in the next verses. After Cain's birth, Adam and Eve conceive again. Abel, Cain's brother, is born. The story jumps forward in time in this verse, leaving quite a few details unanswered. This is normal for the book of Genesis, which often describes major portions of history in just a few summary verses. Among the unanswered questions of this particular verse is whether or not Adam and Eve had additional children in the meantime. Ancient genealogies often only mention the important offspring, so to speak. So it's likely but not certain that Cain and Abel had other siblings prior to their conflict. A major point in favor of this view is Cain's fear of other people in Genesis 4:14 and the mention of his wife in Genesis 4:17. These imply that there were other people alive at the time of his conflict with Abel, meaning other children of Adam and Eve. That being said, nothing in the text or the story requires that there were other siblings, nor does it demand that there were not. This is simply an open point on which Scripture does not provide clear details. This verse reveals the brothers' professions. Abel keeps sheep, Cain farms, working the ground for crops. Both were respectable and necessary professions among the second generation of pioneering humans.